Hey guys, welcome to Plan Today on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host, and I'm so glad you guys are joining us on the radio and are on Facebook, YouTube, all over social media, based in Chattanooga and Knoxville, Tennessee. So thank you all for listening in or watching to the show. I guess they're listening to the show as well if they're watching the show, correct?
So, I hope
yeah,
so.
I hope so. Yeah,
sound off.
yeah, it's a little crazy. So in here with Tim McDermott, Bobby Fuss, gentlemen, how are we doing this very cold morning in the beautiful state of Tennessee?
Good. I'm doing well this morning.
Yeah,
I think I'm finally getting used to the cold, unfortunately.
It'll warm up next week.
I am not getting used to the cold.
Yeah, I guess a couple weeks ago the gopher or the groundhog saw a shadow, right? So we got another 6 more weeks of cold, if you believe that.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be back. I think next week in the 60s. Yeah. So I can handle that. I can handle that.
Good. That sounds really good, actually.
I tell you what, that one Saturday, boys, that wind chill factor. I mean, it hurt. Mm-hmm. And I think about all of our friends that live up north and how they're just used to it. But man, I tell you, this boy right here does not like the cold weather at all. I like the fall and the spring. So, gentlemen, we're gonna have a little fun today on our show. We're kind of gonna do a game themed, show with like the Family Feud and Jeopardy and the Wheel of Fortune, just to have some fun and be entertaining for our listeners out there. But phone call I had yesterday afternoon. It was with a gentleman down in Dallas, Texas, and he asked the best question. We're having this long conversation about his accounts and everything else, but he said, Gary, I want to, what is your why? Why do you, and actually that was part of my speech, I guess you want to say it coming up, but he asked me before we got there. So I thought we'd start today's show with just asking both of you, what is your why? What got you into this? What's the history of why you love helping people, pre-retirees and post-retirees, get through retirement and just have a great retirement? Bobby, I'll start with you.
Well, that's a great question, and I think mine is this retirement and making sure you plan for a successful retirement is what people literally spend almost their whole life working for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? There's other goals, buying your first house or helping your kids go to college if that's a goal for yours, but those are all kind of ancillary things to being able to kind of retire the way you want to and really enjoy the fruits of your labor over many, many decades. And being able to do that in the way that you want to and be fulfilled in your retirement is really what I enjoy helping people do, because really there's very few better victories in life than helping people go into the retirement sunset, whatever that is for them.
Absolutely.
And being able to enjoy it and not being a worrying period.
So what got you into this field? Because I think your story is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I grew up in a military family, and I was going to fly airplanes for the Navy forever and ever and ever. And then my eyesight got bad, and back in the day, that was a hard no-go, right? So I was like, well, okay. And then there was a junior college professor back down in what was Florida Community College at Jacksonville way back in the day. Professor McDonald. Mm-hmm. You're still out there, Professor McDonald. Shout out to you. He taught me my first economics class. It was literally Economics 101, and I was just hooked.
Really?
Right? I was
That's
just
awesome.
hooked. Everything about studying economics and how it affects behaviors of individual people, companies, the markets. You can break almost all decisions down to numbers and incentives.
Sure.
And our business is really the best way to take that knowledge and put it into practical use.
I love that.
So I kind of fell into this a little later as a young man, and I just loved it.
That's awesome. So, Tim, what's your why, bud?
Yeah, I grew up in this industry. I watched it from, being 10, 11, 12 years old to, working in it full time. And it was interesting because I watched my dad work with advisors all over the country who, some of them did incredibly well and helped a ton of amazing clients out there. And others felt like they were just in it for a quick buck. And I watched them go through bankruptcy because they couldn't pay their tax bill or, whatever the case may be. And it all boiled back down to the guys who did well in this industry did well because they looked after the client. They paid attention to what the needs were, and that will pay for itself tenfold.
100%.
I was like, I can do that, and I can do it really well.
Nice.
And I think I've proved that to myself in today's world. I think I do it very well. And at the end of the day, you're sight and your focus just needs to be on that, the client that you're working with, the person that you're sitting across from that table at that moment, and making sure that their goals and their needs are met, not just some product push for a quick buck.
Yeah. I think in our industry, if you're a financial advisor, that's really not like a protected title, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
No. There's a lot of people that can call themselves financial advisors, and they're not doing that. They may be just salesmen or, have some other tact, but being able to be a quote-unquote financial advisor and doing it the right way is really fulfilling.
Yeah. It's funny. We were in Knoxville a few weeks ago, and we were at dinner, and someone asked me and Roddy, what do you guys do? And I said, I help a team of people help people retire. And I know that sounded kind of a lot, but I have a team of people, and we help people retire. That's what we do, and that's pretty fulfilling with what we do. Again, Guardian Investment Advisors. We have an office here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We have one up in Knoxville. You got Bobby here, Tim here. We got Brogan Walters, the advisor up in Knoxville. And then, of course, on the Medicare side, we got Tanner Moore. We got a beautiful, beautiful staff, and Bridget and Abby and Rhonda. We got Tristan doing all of our socials. So Debbie now is up in Knoxville working with us as well. So we got a great team. And if you're ever looking for a team just to come in, have a conversation with, you heard the stories behind these guys, and they are passionate about what they do. We actually do care. We always say, welcome to the Guardian family, because you are family. We want your retirement to be awesome. But if you'd like a free consultation, you'd like a second opinion on where you're at, 423-710-9199. Just give us a call. Come in and have a conversation. It's not going to cost you anything but some time. So 423-710-9199. All right, guys, let's have a little fun. Family Feud style. And I still like Family Feud. Of course, I like Steve Harvey. So it's hard not to like Family Feud. But, guys, we see retirees every week, and I want to see if your answers might line up with what America worries about the most. And, Tim, I'm just going to start with you. What do you see as the number one fear people are having headed into retirement? Cha-ching.
That was me.
Oh, no, you hit the little red button. That's right. You hit the red button.
It's Family Feud, right? This is a kind of a laundry list of things that we see, and it varies based on the person. But I think it all comes back to one answer, and the one answer really is longevity risk. People are nervous about running out of money, or taxes going up, or healthcare getting expensive, and it all comes back to, I'm living longer, and that creates other issues down the road.
That's
for
right.
us, right? And so what's the plan for those things? I think that in and of itself speaks to why you need a full plan in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Someone to talk about the income, someone to talk about the risk, someone to talk about the healthcare concerns down the road. And that's what we do
I love it.
In big picture.
So flip of the board up there would probably be income planning. Yeah. Do you think that? Income, you can't pay for all these things you're talking about.
You missed the opportunity there, Gary. Show me income.
Show me income. That's right. Yeah.
But that's exactly right. And that longevity risk, to Tim's point, there's so much that goes into that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're living longer, which is a great thing, you've got the opportunity for taxes to increase in a meaningful way. You got inflation can take over and wreck a plan over a long period of time. You mentioned medical care and long-term care. That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
It's got to be something that's planned for, to make sure that if and when that time comes, you've got the money to pay for those.
I love that. So, Bobby, you're going to hit the red buzzer this time. What is the biggest mistake you see people make before they retire?
Show me procrastination.
Oh, I love that one. That's a good one.
Right? People wait too long. I don't think you can ever start planning for retirement too early. Now, there's a time frame for all these things, right? When you're early on in retirement, it's not going to be the same steps you take when you're in your 50s or 60s or, a year or two out of retirement. But go ahead and start talking to a planner now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
The quicker you can get your pieces in place to provide that guaranteed income in retirement that you can't outlive is better. Not that if you've waited too long and you want to retire this year or the next, it's too late and you shouldn't do anything.
Right.
Quite the contrary. Like, call us right now, right? The earlier you get started, the better.
But what if, gentlemen, for both of you, now I'm going to come back on the second segment with that last question you guys have right there, because I love that question. I'm going to ask both of you that coming back on the second segment. But what if somebody's already working with a planner, but they're not talking about income planning and tax planning and Medicare planning and healthcare planning? I mean, that happens a lot, Bobby.
Yeah, it does. And I would argue that they're probably not doing a great job for you, right? All those things have to be taken into account into a plan because they're going to happen to all of us in retirement.
Sure.
And if you're just going into retirement looking at just taxes, right? We talk about Roth conversions all the time, but every so often we say, well, that doesn't make sense for this, that, and the other reason.
Yep.
All those things have to fit in together. And if you're not looking at all those different things in a plan, you've likely got holes in your plan.
Yeah, and Tim, I think it's important to work with an independent firm, right, instead of a captive firm.
Yeah, looking for someone who can truly work for you. If you're an independent advisor,
Right.
It allows us to represent the client, not the company that you're working for.
I love it. Folks, listen, it's real simple. If you'd like to come in and have a conversation with Tim, Bobby Brogan up in Knoxville, give us a call, 423-710-9199. Come in and have a conversation. It's absolutely free. Like I said earlier, the only thing it's going to cost you is a little bit of time. A little bit of time. Come in, make sure your plan is in place, because if it is, they will tell you you're doing great. But if it's not, they're going to go to work for you, and they're going to, roll up their sleeves and put a plan together for you and talk about all these different things, especially income planning, because we do think that is one of the most vital things to make your retirement happy. Also, we're giving away our book, as usual, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. If you'd like a copy of my book, text the word book, 423-710-9199. Again, text the word book, 423-710-9199, and we'll send it right out to you. It's the 6 keys to guarding your retirement. When we come back, we're going to have a little Jeopardy fun. I do have a question to ask the guys when we come back in, but stay tuned. We're going to keep having the game show of retirement when we come back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. My name's Gary Thurman, your host. We're having a lot of fun today. We're doing a little game style, if you will, to retirement planning, just having some fun questions. We started with a little family feud, and there's one more question I want to go back and ask both of the gentlemen, Tim and Bobby, joining me today on the show. Tim, I'm going to start with you. What do people think they understand about retirement? They think they understand about retirement, but they really don't.
It's become more and more common for us to sit with individuals who think that they have a risk-adverse or protected security inside their accounts. When I reference this, I really reference to bonds. Bonds have been kind of the run-to, the go-to place for 40-plus years to say, hey, I want to make sure that I'm protected against market crashes, and so I'm going to go into bonds, and bonds are not in the same economic position they have been in over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
It's something you certainly need to look into, and something I'd be happy to show you a little bit more about.
I love that. Bobby, same question to you, brother.
I think a lot of people don't understand what their true cost of retirement is.
The true cost.
The true cost.
Okay, I like that.
How much income do you really need to go into retirement, right? And we're talking about the not fun things like long-term care, health care. We talk about the numbers that health care is all the time. But we oftentimes find people when we come in and do planning for them, they underestimate what it costs for them to live their lifestyle every month.
Right.
And Tim's great about this. He'll almost always push back and say, is that really what it costs to be Tim every month, right? That may be what it takes to keep the mortgage paid, keep the light bill on, get groceries, but that's not really what you want to do in retirement.
No.
Right? So, vacations, spoiling grandkids. you really need to think about it deeper and make sure that those things that you've worked so hard to do in retirement are planned for. And a lot of people overlook that.
How many
Sure.
plans do you guys see come in from other firms? You know, everybody brings their paperwork to you guys. You review them, you study them. How many plans do you see, Bobby, that does not include inflation?
Quite a few, or they downplay inflation
Okay,
quite
okay.
considerably, right? Historical inflation has been right at 3%, but people oftentimes overlook those years, like a couple years ago when it was 9.
Right.
That's huge. And so you need to make sure that you take into account a reasonable rate of inflation for the next 20 or 30 years
Absolutely.
in retirement, because it's going to cost a lot more money then than it does now to have the same lifestyle.
That's right. I agree. All right, let's go a little Jeopardy here, guys. Factor fishing with a little Jeopardy. Tim, I'm going to start with you. First question, Social Security will cut people's retirement income, fact or fiction?
Fiction, at least we hope.
Right.
Social Security is out there to kind of start the income, process for you. It's something you paid into for years while you worked, and it's a decent number to kind of get the income plan rolling, right? But typically, it's not going to cover the majority of your expenses, especially if you still have a mortgage or a car
Right,
note or
yeah.
whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. It's a great place to start, but it shouldn't be the end of the income plan for you.
Yeah.
99.9% of the people we talk to don't want to retire on just Social Security.
That's
Right, yeah.
And 100% of the people that have retired on just Social Security wishes they had done something different.
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah, but it's a great benefit.
Sure.
And one of the things the guys do is optimize your Social Security. They really teach you when to turn that on to make sure you optimize that benefit that you're going to get for working for so long.
I will say this about Social Security. We do have a handful of clients who are just not spenders, right?
That's right,
They,
yeah.
They don't spend a lot, and their Social Security covers all of their other
Yeah.
expenses.
Yeah.
But they also have a pile of cash off to the side that if they want to go buy that new
That's
car, if they want to do that
Yeah.
vacation, they have money to pull from to go do these different things.
Right.
They're just not big spenders. It's okay if you live on just Social Security, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say, but it's important to have that other pile of cash.
I agree.
Yeah, because just
Emergencies
that
come
Social
up.
Security check doesn't provide you very much flexibility. at
That's
all.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So, Bobby, here's one. If the market averages 8%, retirees shouldn't worry about downturns. Fact or fiction?
What is fiction, Alex?
Okay.
The
Alex is no longer the host, by the way.
I know it. Rest in peace. I don't know who. Oh, it's the
I don't
Ken,
know his
Ken,
name
Ken
either.
Jennings guy that
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it-
did the run. I think he's back permanently.
Don't know.
Like the winningest guy on Jeopardy ever. We're not real big fans of any percent rule, right? Because to provide for income. So if it's the old 4% rule, and if you take 4%, you've got this incredible opportunity or chance not to run out of money by your 90th
90th birthday, yeah.
But what people don't think about is market downturns affect that a lot, right?
Yeah,
because
sure.
in a year or a period of time that's down in the market, if you don't adjust your spending, right? If you're just taking a percentage of that decreased portfolio value, that can mean your income is quite a bit lower.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and if you stay steady and you take 8%, you're taking 8% of an account that may be down 10, 15, 20%. You're digging yourself a hole with like a backhoe,
Sure. I
think-
right?
I think the greatest, most recent example of that was 2022, because not only did we see a falling market that you would have had to pull less out of in order to stay on track with that, but that was also a year that we were seeing massive spikes in inflation, right? So things were getting more expensive,
Double whammy.
and you're taking less out of your accounts to stay on track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to be doing.
So I think downturns affect everybody. So you got to make sure
100%.
that your risk capacity is in line, right?
Do you think it's guys? I'm sorry, I'm throwing something at you. A lot of people think, oh, the market was down 25%. I only need 25% to get whole.
Yeah.
I think that's a big misconception, Tim. They need to understand it's pretty much double that, correct? To get back to even.
Well, yeah. So the quick math is to say, hey, if you drop 50% in your account, and we've seen this happen before in 2008,
Yeah.
maybe even over the early 2000s. If your account drops in half, you don't need a 50% gain to get back to even. And think about this from a mathematical standpoint: $1 million drops in half to 500,000. How much do you have to make to get back to whole?
100%.
$500,000.
Yeah,
That's
exactly, yeah.
100% rate of return, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Warren Buffett's number one rule:
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't
Never-
lose money.
don't lose money. You know what rule number 2 is?
See rule number 1.
That's right. And that's because he understands that it takes that extra gain to get back to even.
Absolutely, it's crazy. Tim, here's a good one. Medicare term care cost.
Big fiction. Big fiction.
Big,
So
yeah.
Medicare is out there to kind of help cover, your doctor's visits and some copay. You have to pay some copays, but it'll help take care of some of the prescription costs and things
Right.
like that, right? Medicare does not cover long-term care.
Nope.
In fact, only in one small example does it actually cover any sort of long-term care. And I hesitate to call it long-term care. It's more like short-term care.
It is.
You would have to go directly from a hospital into a long-term care facility. That means do not pass go, do not collect $200, don't stop by your house, don't go to Burger King. You need to go directly
straight
to that
there.
long-term care facility. And even then, it only covers the first 100 days.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why Medicare planning is so important, folks. And if you're looking to get some Medicare planning, reach out to Tanner Moore here at our office, 423-710-9199. Bobby, this one kind of made me laugh a little bit, I'll be honest with you. So you should wait as long as possible to do tax planning.
A lot of people would like to do that, right?
In taxes.
Right.
That's that procrastination thing Bobby was
It
talking about.
is. Just the opposite. The earlier you start, the better. And we've talked to really young people that have come in and talked to us, or real younger clients in their 20s and 30s, and it's the default is just stash money away in your 401k, your traditional 401k.
Well, that's what everybody tells them to do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. But listen, if you can get ahead of the tax planning and your 401k offers a Roth option, listen, you're doing some of the strongest tax planning you could possibly do.
100%.
Right? You may not need the immediate income tax deduction at that point, right? Because you're probably just getting started in your career.
Yeah.
The current income taxes are not weighing on you as much as they'll be in your 50s and 60s,
right.
when you're probably making as much money as you ever have.
Yeah.
And you're getting set yourself up for tax-free income way in the future, and take control of that money and make sure it compounds for you in a tax-free way. No, you need to start tax planning immediately, right? If you haven't done it already, start today.
But, Tim, you guys are right now working with a lot of folks, let's say pre-retirees and post-retirees, about tax planning, because we're in the third lowest tax bracket we've ever been in. Roth conversions should be top of mind for everyone right now.
I think it should, very certainly be a question that should be asked. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do it this year, but you need to start having that conversation and planning for that for the near future, I think, yeah.
What are your thoughts there, Bobby?
I agree, because not only, to your point, are we in the third lowest income tax brackets we've ever been in, but R&D ages are being pushed further and further out. By 2030, required minimum distribution start age is going to be 75. So oftentimes we see somebody retires in their early, mid-60s. Even if you wait till 70 retire, you've got this sweet window that you don't have your salary anymore, your income is much lower, and you don't have to start RMDs for a handful of years.
Yeah.
That's the window that you really put the high-octane gas in the Roth conversion fuel tank and just go.
Yeah, and speaking of this big, beautiful bill, or the tax bracket we're in now, we know we're locked into this tax rate till the end of 2028. Mm-hmm. And, Tim, I'd like for you to spend a minute talking about the $6,000 per person 65 and older folks are getting now, and how they can take advantage of that money to do Roth conversions.
Yeah, just a quick extra deduction that you're getting as a senior over the age of 65 as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Trump built in a additional $6,000 deduction per individual over the age of 65, which means as a married couple, you're getting an additional $12,000 a year in standard deduction on top of the $32,000 a year, whatever the number is, a year that you're getting already. I will say this, that $6,000 deduction is not a permanent put in place deduction.
Right.
It is temporary. It will go away after 2028. So now's a good time to take advantage of that extra $12,000 deduction.
If nothing else has changed for you and your spouse, you get an extra $12,000 of room to tax plan.
That's right.
That's incredible. Hey, folks, taxes are big. Medicare is big. Income planning is big. Social Security, optimizing that's big. Want to come in and have a conversation with the guys? 423-710-9199. Just give us a call. It's an absolutely free conversation. And if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day, Own Tomorrow, 423-710-9199. Same number. Just text the word book to that number, 423-710-9199. When we come back, we're going to go into the wheel of retirement, like the wheel of fortune. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns.
At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you.
Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host. We are Guardian Investment Advisors located in Chattanooga, Tennessee and Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, ask me if you're in the Knoxville area, you can still call or text the 423-710-9199 number. We'll get you set up with Debbie and Brogan up in Knoxville. So same phone number, 423-710-9199. You can call that number to set up your complimentary review with the guys here in Chattanooga or Brogan up in Knoxville, and or you can text the word book, 423-710-9199 to get a copy of my book, Plan Today on Tomorrow. I'll be happy to send it right out to you so you can enjoy it. After you read the book, love for you to come and have a conversation with us and just kind of see how we do things the Guardian way and how we're a little different than a lot of other brokers out there. All right, guys, a little bit of fun here. We're going to be spinning the wheel of retirement, and each question is a real-life situation. And you guys can both answer both of these questions as we go. So we'll just start at the very top when you guys jump in. You retire. Then the 1 year, what move? Tim, go.
I think this comes back to having a clear conversation about risk tolerance before we enter that retirement date. It's important to understand what happens when the market does drop by 20% or 30%. Ideally, we're using the bucket system for our clients. That allows us to not have to have a panic moment during those market drops, right? If you're using the red, yellow, green system, that green bucket is there to supplement the additional income that you need above and beyond Social Security and pensions to help guarantee that you get a check every single month no matter what happens in the market. And so the red bucket is allowed to fluctuate up and down with how the market moves, and it's not putting you in a position where you're pulling from a down asset.
Yeah. Bobby, so I think what I just heard Tim say, let's say they're 60. And they're like, guys, I'm retiring at 65. Let's start working together now. They reach the age of 65. They're ready to retire. You and Tim have set up a system where if that first year that person retired at 65, the market dropped 20%, they're good.
Yeah, if you're working with Guardian, one of the cornerstones of our process is making sure we plan for guaranteed income. The 20% drop in the market will not affect your retirement income at all, right? Now, your red bucket, of course, will decline in value by 20%,
Sure.
but that the possibility that happens is part of the plan.
That's right.
So it shouldn't derail anything. From an investment advisor standpoint, if that happens, man, I may be rebalancing a portfolio and putting it back into some more assets that are set to run after that decline.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So if you've got your bucket system set up properly, your income is secured, that 20% decline is actually a pretty nice opportunity for you to get some value on the back end of that.
So I think pre-planning is what I'm hearing is most vital for folks. So if when that first year happens, if the market happens to go down, if you put a plan together, like Tim said, using our bucket system, then you're going to be okay. You live every day like a Saturday. So it's important for you guys to pre-plan for that retirement. So if we get a 20% drop in the market, it's not going to freak you out. You keep things going the way they are. Bobby, I'll start with you on this one. And this was a great question, and we can get very detailed on this. Someone wants all of their money, everything they've saved for retirement, produce an income. Smart or dangerous?
This is a very nuanced question. I think putting all your money in the green bucket just to produce income, that's the wrong way to look at it. You need to look at it from the other side and say, how much income do I need to secure my lifestyle? And just put that amount of money to work producing income for you. Because producing income is one thing that investments can do. there are very few investments that provide you steady income and capital appreciation at the same time.
I've seen this from a little bit of a different aspect as well, right? And while that's a phenomenal point, I agree with it. I see a lot of folks say, well, I don't want a growth strategy. I want a dividend strategy in the market, and I want to go buy rental properties, and I want to go buy all these income-producing assets.
Yeah.
And the danger that comes with that, right, is you may end up giving yourself a really fat, nice income that you don't even need all of it to spend all of it, but then it's really hard to control your taxable income at that point.
Creating more taxes.
All these systems
point.
are meant to spit out an income, and you're getting it whether you like it or not. And Uncle Sam wants taxes on what?
Yeah.
Income, right?
Yeah. Income, growth, whatever. Right. So there are folks between Chattanooga and Knoxville. There's some firms out there, they want to throw everybody's money into the green bucket 100%, and they forget about that red bucket and how important that red bucket is for inflation, future taxes maybe, whatever, and it's liquid.
Yeah, you're going to need growth over your retirement timeline, right? No doubt. How much growth? I don't know. We always joke about our crystal ball needing batteries or being broken.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that tool there, you don't have the opportunity to grow at all. Excuse me. And so you need to make sure that you do have some assets that are going to keep up with those expenses over time.
Yeah, I agree. So come in and see the bucket system. It's funny when we use this bucket system and people see it for the first time. It just makes sense. It's not a bunch of graphs or charts and all that kind of craziness going out there. It's just our bucket system. And when people see it, they really understand it. They really get it. And Bobby and Tim and Brogan do it so well and explain it to you in plain English, which is what it's all about. So, again, if you'd like to come in, see the guys, 423-710-9199. Just give us a call. Absolutely complimentary, and it's a great way to get a second opinion on what you're already doing right now. I like this one, gentlemen, a couple. So we got a couple coming in. They got pensions. They got Social Security. They got some IRAs. Where do they even start with this process?
Start with a spending plan.
Yep.
Okay.
Right? It's not even in that list. All those things are important, but we have to be able to identify what your goal is, right? Because those things are all tools. I always like to look at, Gary, do you do jigsaw puzzles?
I used to, but I haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, so I got a 7-year-old daughter. She loves doing jigsaw puzzles. When the first thing you do in order to solve the puzzle is you dump all the pieces out on the table.
Right.
Right. I usually turn them all over so you see the picture, and then I start with the outline. But that's neither here nor there. That's kind of what I look like here. You all have pieces to your retirement puzzle.
Sure.
But what we don't know is what's the picture supposed to be. And so we need to sit down and figure out first what is retirement, and then we'll start and say, okay, you want to travel, you need $5,000 a month to live the retirement lifestyle you need. That's the first thing we need to figure out. Then we say, okay, the Social Security is part of that. The pension's part of that.
Right.
If it doesn't get you to that goal, now we got to start doing some IRA planning.
That's right.
And that's where it comes in. How much of that liquidity is going to be in the green bucket? How much is in the red bucket? Do you already have the yellow bucket in place, right? And so that's kind of where I start is, Tim and I will sit down and say, listen, that's all great. I'm glad you have all those pieces. Let's talk about that second. What are we trying to do for you? What's your goal?
So, Tim, I'm going to take Bobby's example he gave there. This couple comes in, and their pensions and Social Security are satisfying their monthly goal, right? They're satisfying their monthly needs. Now they've got, let's say, old 401ks that are IRAs. What do we do from that? Do we still use the bucket system because they've got their income secured? Do we look at some long-term care planning? What are we going to do with that IRA money?
Yeah, so I think my next conversation there is about tax planning.
Okay.
You've got an RMD that's going to be forced to come out of that IRA down the road at some point. And if you're happy with the income that you have coming in and you don't need that additional income, then you're paying taxes on money that you don't really want, right? And so we'll talk a little bit about tax planning, how to avoid that RMD and that tax down the road. And then my next question really for you is what are you spending that money on? Are you spending that money on groceries and travel and a new vehicle? I mean, all of those things are going to have inflation driven with them, which means that same income that you may be satisfied with today won't necessarily be enough in 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And again, their Social Security and their pensions are covering all their income needs. That doesn't mean we go crazy risky with the rest of that money in the red bucket.
No, it's not. And so the red bucket people look at the color red and
Yep.
think risk and
Risk, yeah.
fire and all these things. It's just the most risky of the buckets that we have in our system.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be crazy risk. Just because you're in the red bucket doesn't mean you're buying Bitcoin and soybean futures, right? That bucket just happens to be your most risky bucket.
Yeah.
How much risk is in that bucket depends on your plan, right? It could be in the market in a very conservative strategy if that's what your plan needs to get you through retirement confidently. But we do have some clients that say, "Hey, listen, I got a small piece, and maybe I want some gas."
How do you
and we
determine
let them-
that, Tim? How do you determine what their risk capacity actually is?
Yeah, it's a conversation, right? And we part of what we'll ask is what happens if a 20% crash does happen, right?
Yeah,
We were just
correct.
talking about that.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's your emotion to that? And what do you feel like is going to happen, right? And their response will kind of determine that. And I would say this, just because you don't need the additional income doesn't mean we don't use the green bucket, right?
Okay.
The green bucket, and I think a lot of folks don't know this and understand this about annuities. There are annuity-driven programs out there that are not set up to give you a guaranteed income.
That's right.
And that's okay.
They're
Use them
great.
for the purpose that
Yeah.
they're in. It could be alternative than bonds in today's world. I can guarantee you no risk, and you don't have to worry about anything taking that bond value away from you in the annuity market, right?
Yeah.
And we still get a nice, decent average rate of return
Yeah.
inside. Of
Yeah. I your review yesterday, gentlemen, with one of those growth programs we wrote just last year. So they come up on annual review. Now they got a little bit of a bonus, so I'm not counting that. Their return was 8.27% for the year. So they got that cash bonus on the front end because we needed it.
Sure.
They still made over 8%, and that locked in. They're pretty darn happy to make that kind of money. There's all kinds of ways you can retire, folks, but when you come in and see the bucket strategy with Tim, Bobby, and Brogan, it's just going to make a lot of sense for you. It just makes things easier for you to understand. We're not just talking about growth. We're actually doing a plan that's going to last throughout your retirement. I'll talk about that in my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. Love to send you a free copy. All you got to do is text the word book, 423-710-9199. Again, text the word book, 423-710-9199. Having some fun, doing a little game show theme, retirement today. Next time we're going to segment, we're going to do The Price is Right, what retirement really costs. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's power retirement right now. Thank you.
Welcome back to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. I'm Gary Thurman, your host. One thing I have forgot to mention today, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, you can call in, 423-710-9199. But actually, if you'll comment the word book below of the YouTube or the Facebook page, comment the word book. We'll send you my book out, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. If you're listening to us on the radio, all you can do is give us a call, 423-710-9199. Come in and see us, absolutely complimentary. It's a conversation between you, Bobby, Tim, Brogan up in Knoxville. And again, if you're listening to us on the radio, happy to send you out my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. Text the word book, 423-710-9199. All right, gentlemen, most people underestimate retirement costs. I think this is something we talked about earlier on the show, Bobby. And I want to talk about some real prices here, and we're going to kind of theme this around The Price is Right, of course, what retirement really costs. Bobby, I'm going to start with you this time. What surprises retirees most about healthcare costs?
I think the obvious answer here is how much it's going to cost. But I think everybody realizes, recently that healthcare costs have gotten more and more expensive, even pre-retirement costs. You see it all the time. Prescription drug costs seem to go up every year, all these sorts of things. I think what surprises most people about healthcare costs is what is not covered by your Medicare and traditional coverages in retirement. What you're going to be expected to pay out of pocket. Because if you've spent your working years working for a large company with really great insurance coverage, then all of a sudden you get on Medicare or maybe an Advantage or a supplement plan, and now all of a sudden you're having to come out of pocket for some of those things that have always been covered.
Yeah.
I think that's a real surprise for people.
I think Bob Barker would have asked you what the average cost of healthcare is for an individual in retirement.
Oh, that'd be a great question. I like that.
So we know the number.
We do.
Right?
So we know a number. Fidelity did a great study on that, Tim. And it's about $170,000 per person. $170,000
After you've paid for your insurance.
after you pay for your insurance, and that does not include
Long-term care.
long-term care. It's kind of crazy, Tim, right? And that's why how important it is that we have Tanner Moore on staff. So when people retire, they get these healthcare guys. I mean, it's tough. It's hard to understand, and it's flat out expensive. How important, Tim, is it that we have someone on staff that specializes in that healthcare, on the Medicare side especially?
Yeah, it's really nice to take our clients who are going through the planning process, and we talk to them about the long-term care and the growth side and the income side and the tax planning side, and we say, this is a vital part of the plan, making sure that your healthcare costs are under wraps and taken care of, and we can send them right down the hallway to Tanner Moore, right?
Yeah.
Or just bring Tanner down the hallway.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I just think it's so neat, and it's been a joy to watch how he interacts with our clients and really helps them out. So again, if you're looking for Medicare solutions, if you're confused about Medicare, call 423-710-9199. Come in and see Tanner. It's absolutely free. You can do a phone call, Zoom call, or come in and see him in person. He does all of the above. I like this, Tim. I'm coming to you now. Sorry. What's the real cost of claiming Social Security too early?
I find this to be an interesting conversation, right?
Me too. I like the question.
And we have it a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Everybody comes in and says, when do I start my Social Security? Everybody's going to get it. It's just a matter of when, where, why, and how, right? Typically, as a rule of thumb, this is not true for everyone. It's going to change a little bit. But typically, I'm going to tell folks to turn it on as early as possible, as long as you're not getting penalized for doing so.
Okay.
And it will all break down to the simple fact that if you're not pulling your Social Security, if you're not getting that income from the U.S. government, you are going to have to pull that income from somewhere, and now you're drawing down an asset that can't continue to work for you.
Yeah, don't you guys have someone you're working on right now that this is a big deal, Bobby? Can you share a little bit without, of course, sharing names?
Yeah, it's exactly right. This is Gary Thurman. I can't convince him. No, I'm kidding. And that's really it, because forever and ever, you talk about you get the 8% roll up, right? If you wait, my Social Security goes up 8% every year. That's true. It's a roll up. It's not a compounding.
That's right.
Return, and that's a reasonably big number, right? It's about the same historical average as the S&P 500, for example. And I think that's what most people get hung up on. But what they don't realize is by waiting to get that 8% roll up, you're having to pull money out of the market. And if you pull money out of the market that's supposed to be in there and being invested for you for 20 or 30 years, that compounded number is orders of magnitude larger than 8%.
Oh, yeah.
The interesting part is an 8% roll-up is just not an 8% rate of return.
That's correct.
And all the time I hear folks say, well, where else can I get a guaranteed 8%? And I said, well, no one's offering you a guaranteed 8% right now, not even the U.S. government, right? It's an 8% roll-up. That is not the same thing as an 8% rate of return.
Totally different.
And I have the math to prove it, right?
And here's the thing. You can go out online and go to the Google machine and do Social Security calculator. There's hundreds, if not thousands of them out there.
Sure.
They're all talking about how much your benefit is going to increase while you wait, and then it's going to be some break-even analysis that says if you wait and you get to your 86th birthday, you'll have pulled more money out of the system. It does not include what you've taken out of your investments to live in that amount of time. So they're really
into the
incomplete.
count the full picture, right?
That's
We're
right.
time value of money now.
It's huge. So to Tim's point, almost always we say Are you retired? Do you need money to spend? Spend Uncle Sam's money. Leave yours in the market.
Yeah, that's right. You can optimize your Social Security benefit, and that's one of the things all of our advisors here at Guardian are so good at is making sure to tell you when to turn it on, what's the best time to optimize it, and make sure that you take advantage of that. Take advantage of it. Bobby, what does ignoring taxes in retirement usually cost families? Whew, that's an open-loaded question.
I wish I'd have kind of ran a number on this, but it's going to be thousands or not tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yes.
If not more. The issue with tax planning is it's really hard to plan with unknown numbers. So waiting to do tax planning until the future, you're dealing with variables you have no idea what they're going to be, right? So what does that mean? Do tax planning now when we know what the numbers are going to be, we know what paying current income taxes cost you, and we can use some of those variables to your benefit. I think taxes have to go up. We had a show several weeks ago where we interrupted each segment with how many millions of dollars we added to the national debt per segment.
Yeah.
Taxes have to go up because that's the only way the United States government can pay those costs.
Yep.
And think about the amount of money our government is spending right now.
It's incredible.
I mean, wow, spending lots of money. So again, we know these low tax rates because of the big beautiful bill are locked in through the end of 2028. You got 26, 27, 28 to do some really cool tax planning. Have a conversation about it. You know what? A Roth conversion might not be right for you. That's just the way it is, but it might be. So why not take a free opportunity to come in and have a conversation with Tim and Bobby here in Chattanooga or Brogan up in Knoxville? See if a Roth conversion is good for you to do right now. 423-710-9199. Tim, come back to you with the last question of the day. What's more dangerous, dying early or living too long?
If you're dead, not a whole lot of things are very dangerous at that point. But a lot of the concerns, I think, are based around living too long, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but the longer you live, the more chance you have of running out of money, the more chance you have of getting sick, the more chance you have that inflation comes by and eats you alive, and taxes become a problem. Living too long presents a multitude of issues that need to be planned for. There's other ways to take care of that problem, but don't do that. Just plan for it, right?
Bobby, how many people come through the door here in Chattanooga and they do not have anything planned for that? What if they're one of the 70% that need long-term care? How many? But I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, half?
I'd say
half.
more than that.
I would say 70% do not have a
That's
plan.
right. Yeah, it's just been so hard to plan for in the last 5 or 10 years with the limited options that you've had, right? Traditional long-term care insurance just isn't that great of a solution anymore. And so here in the last couple of years, a lot of great insurance companies have brought alternative solutions to the marketplace.
So cool.
They're just not commonplace in the conversation yet. And I've never written a traditional long-term care policy. I probably won't, right? But I have had these hybrid asset-backed solutions or a fixed income annuity that, when properly structured, can increase your income if you need those types of things. And so I'd say most people just have that left out of their plan.
It's funny. You just brought up a fixed income annuity with an income rider. We actually have a program right now that's more the annuity Tim was talking about. It's growth-based, right? So there's no income rider. But they have what they call an ADL waiver. If you fail 2 of the 6 ADLs, and we get a note from your doctor, after 1 year, that's the only drawback. You got to wait 1 year. Bobby, they'll send you all of your money back.
Plus any
what
bonus
kind of
you
great
got,
plan is that?
plus the interest you got. It's amazing. Right?
And I mean, like I talked to a gentleman yesterday. He's taking the bonus part on this, but he's doing the no-fee bonus. He's going to take the fixed rate first year, so he's going to make almost 18% guaranteed year 1. Then, God forbid, if he got sick, he'd get the bonus. He'd get the increase in index options and, whatever else came through. But if he lives to be 90 years old, I mean, he's going to have $4 million based on the last 10-year returns in this account. So it's just another way to protect yourself for long-term care. There's a lot of ways to do it. Folks, you need an income plan. You need a health care plan. You need a tax plan. You need a legacy plan. There's all kinds of different things that go into the bucket, or as Bobby referenced, the puzzle. The jigsaw puzzle of retirement, it can be difficult, but you got to put all the pieces together. And if you're just in with someone talking about growth, you're not putting the pieces together. You got to be ready to retire confidently with an income plan, a health care plan, a tax plan, a Medicare plan. Let's get you set up. It's absolutely free. Come and have a conversation with the guys. Give us a call, 423-710-9199. That number works for both Knoxville and Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. And the same number, if you'd like a copy of my book, text the word book, 423-710-9199, 3-710-9199. Guys, that was a fun show.
Great show.
Cheers.
Appreciate
Good stuff,
you
guys. Hey, we'll see you next week on the radio and on YouTube and Facebook.